We'll see about that, eh? Oh, wait. If they're in the upper bracket, yeah, I'll be casting those. I cast all of the upper bracket games for sure. It's just I cast all of Groupstage A and then some of the other games from it. Let's see. Game 1. Which one is game 1? This one is game 1. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Jaraci Cup 6. I'm gonna do a bit of casting outside of Groupstage A. Oh, alas, you weren't in the upper bracket. 1 point off. Oh yeah, I remember that, because I had told you that you only needed 4 points to get in, because I was thinking of like the groups of 4. Anyway, this is going to be between MarchWaden, who's playing here as the Kanef, and Kitsune, who's playing here in the blue and yellow, it looks like, Soban forces. No wait, blue and white. Oh, the yellow is just part of the detailing of the carrier, right? My bad, I'm a pleb. Pretty interesting colors here. I like this sort of like dark blue and red on MarchWaden. Anyway, this is a player who you should definitely kind of have eyes out for. He's new to the scene. I believe this is his first tournament, but I understand he played very, very well. And I think he made it into the upper brackets. We have some series to cast of him versus A-Game coming up. So of course, you know, I'm pretty excited to see that. I hear that he's really just kind of been tearing it up. And his opponent, of course, Kitsune. You've seen this guy many times. He's been playing DOK for some time now. Going for LAV Feb first here, playing the Soban. I think he's been a Soban main from the beginning, if I'm not mistaken. Seems like, you know, if you were a weeb, you would definitely play Soban, right? Not saying that it's like a weeb faction, but like if you were a weeb, you would definitely play Soban. It's going to be ref mode first here for MarchWaden. The map, of course, is going to be the Shallows. This is Kitsune's pick as well. But he's not going to go eco. He's going to go for a bit of an AV rush. This is a bit of an interesting thing to see. Normally, of course, you do expect your opponent, or you do expect players to be playing eco on the Shallows. It's just kind of that sort of map. So, and MarchWaden very new to the game, but I mean he's already got that down. Ref mode first coming out here. It seems like a pretty good timing. But before he gets Skimmer Fab, he's actually going for a base runner. So he retired the opening base runner, but he's going to build another one here. That's kind of interesting to see. Wait, no, he didn't retire it. Oh, alrighty. So we've actually got some kind of interesting shenanigans going on across the field here. The one thing you got to watch out for if you do this sort of thing, your tech is going to be late, so your opponent could push you really hard. But you know, I mean, this is the Shallows. This is not the kind of map where you're just going to like instantly die to a rush, even if you're not necessarily like ready for it, right? And a little bit of an artifact war here, but definitely MarchWaden's going to win this one if he's on top of it, and he is. So, oh, okay, he's going to get it. So he picks up that first one. AV Tech is done. They're coming out across the field now, but I don't think they're going to be in time to catch this base runner. He's got like 30 speed on him, so he's about like 40% faster. Yeah, I don't think he can make the distance here, so... This AV, pretty gangster. He's driving backwards. Turns around there in the end. Definitely one thing you want to do on the Shallows is you want to like turn the carrier around so that units come out off the back end so that they come a little bit faster. Obviously, otherwise you get this sort of like awkward like pathing going on here where the units are like trying to get around the carrier but they can't quite fit through there. It looks like Kitsune is going to handle that now. But this is pretty interesting to see. So MarchWaden is going to have really good artifact pressure in the beginning here, and if he holds off the rush, which I think he's in no position to die here, like he's going to be fine. He has eco advantage too, so this is a really, really good start for him. First extraction gets dunked, and a Soul Chip Fab about halfway done. Now, we've seen some kind of really interesting plays that people used to do where they would do this kind of stuff, like they'd actually have 3 base runners in the beginning. In fact, in vanilla, there was a build that you could do that was really ridiculous, where you retired your PC. I know that sounds dumb, but like people would actually do this. And you'd build 3 base runners and just like triple extract, get like 1 power reserve, and then you'd use your carrier to basically just win the game. I don't think that works though in Jaraci. But I don't think I've actually seen anyone try it, so I mean, I'm open to the idea. That's definitely not the play here, though. MarchWaden is playing for eco. But he sees now with the space runner, he sees how many AVs there are. There's quite a few. Instantly teching up to kind of siege, I like that, but he really probably needs to build, he probably needs to build some assault ships here. It's a sand skimmer. I don't really like that. I think what he's got to do is just basically survive here. And he's going to be ahead. Like, he's on 2 base right now. He's going to be on 3, actually, if he holds on quite nicely here with this PC coming out. I actually mentioned this in my cast, though, I think, of Orbnet versus A game, where, like, it's really kind of fun to see people try to sort of eco-cheese a little bit. Because if they can pull it off, you know, like, against players who aren't very good at punishing it, you get really far ahead. But there's a good smoke here from Kitsune. Carrier is a little bit late to pull off the line there. This is what I was talking about with carrier blocking, by the way, Houston. If you rotate the front end with them, you don't really block them. But if you rotate the back end out, then you can kind of get a bit more damage done there. There's a lot of carrier power here, though, and Kitsune is not prioritizing salvagers. So what you want to do when you're in this kind of scenario is you want to be focusing the salvagers down here first. And if you do that, then you can get some kills here. But this way, like, you don't actually get any kills, because obviously this PC, it's like kind of all or nothing, right? If you don't actually kill it, and you can see a little bit of a carry block going on there, by the way, you don't get much value out of that. So this PC survives, and all of a sudden, Kitsune really hasn't gotten any damage done. He has a sport cruiser out for himself, but that's it. And MarchWaden has a huge advantage right now. So, I mean, this game, like, if it were top-tier players, I'd say this game is already over. I don't know how MarchWaden plays, but I have a suspicion that it is for him as well. It's kind of weird pathing on this salvager, eh? That was a little bit strange. Something about rally points. Oh, I see. He's actually accidentally teleporting units off of this PC. Looks like it didn't go to the middle of the field, though. It just went over here. Teleporting is this weird thing that happens in DOK when you spawn a unit into, like, impassable terrain. It actually can be abused for, like, an advantage, but we've made that illegal, so you're not supposed to do it if you know what it is. But, like, this is obviously forgivable. Clearly just doesn't know exactly what's happening. And, you know, this happens sometimes, like, you accidentally position units like that. But you'll notice when this skimmer comes out, watch where it spawns. I'll try to keep the camera on it if I can remember. Interceptor Fab is going to be done before too long as well. Okay, here it comes. So the skimmer comes out here, but he just comes out right there. Well, never mind. How can I decide when to poke the enemy eco? Sometimes it feels like it's a throw if I go for an eco poke. So, in this kind of scenario, Kitsune went for a rush strategy. He went for AVs first. And in that kind of situation, you basically have to poke the eco. Unfortunately, he didn't get anything done with it, but he basically has to do it because his opponent is building economy himself. So if he doesn't damage his opponent's economy, he just kind of falls behind. Oh, and this is pretty hype. We have precision bombers coming out. I like that. During the mid-game, though, like let's say at this point right now, you always want to be trying to pull your opponent kind of where you want him to be in the midfield. And if you can get your opponent to commit things to deal with, like, a flank that you have, like, with, like, say, this kind of siege cruiser, right? Let's say he has some railguns and they move over to this side. Now you can say, okay, so now we're open for, like, a poke on his eco over here. So you're sort of trying to, like, pull your opponent, and you want to attack basically wherever his army isn't. If you drive, like, with a bunch of skimmers like this is a very good poke here. But if he finds that there's, like, an AV chilling over here, he probably wants to just back away. Because he can go behind the AV, but it's usually a bit of a throw. I guess that's kind of what I would say. But obviously in this case, this cone of siege has bullied the opponent's army, so that it's off in this position. So now he's free to come in here and just get some damage done on that side. It takes a lot of game sense, though. I mean, obviously it's just kind of like, in every RTS, it's a little difficult to tell when you want to poke and when you don't. But I'd say, like, any time that you can do it for free, yeah, go ahead and do it. But when it comes to, like, trading units out, you want to think of, like, how much your units cost, and, like, how much the salvagers and the mining time is going to cost, but you also want to think how much field control I'm going to lose if I lose, like, let's say 5 sand skimmers to kill a sport cruiser or something, right? Sometimes that's worth it, sometimes it's not. It just kind of depends on, like, the position on the field. Speaking of the position on the field, though, we do have BCs out for Kitsune. He also took rails, by the way, but he didn't build any. And I think BCs are going to be decent here to like deal with the Kana siege, but his big problem is that there's also bombers. And I really like that from MarchWaden, just basically saying like, yeah, here's one thing that you can do to answer me, but I'm going to answer your answer kind of preemptively, you know what I mean? But before the BC is out, he's just going to come in here and do some damage to the eco, looks like. He can basically hit wherever he likes. I think the logistics poncho is probably not the right target, but no, like if I were him, I would just be like going for salvagers on the main base. He does do, though, as you can see, quite a lot of damage to this carrier. Actually, he does quite a lot of damage. He might be able to just finish the game right here, maybe. But there is a sub-1 BC coming out, so I think perhaps Kitsune is going to be okay here. But siege cruisers are pretty fast too. He's not going to get caught here, so I mean he can definitely get out. Kitsune never been afraid to spam some ALMs here, but I don't think they're going to get much value out. Obviously, if that BC pops and he sees it and he wants to get away, what he can do is just kind of EMP it, although he doesn't even have vision on it yet, so... These guys drifting. It's weird, kind of units will like spin when they get EMP'd. Here's that BC. Yeah, so what he should do is EMP it like that, and then just run away. Oh dear, EMP has minimum distance, I guess. So he's probably going to lose one for that. Oh my gosh. He's going to get away, look at this. Oh, the base runner smoke. No, it doesn't even matter, he gets away with it. Oh, that's pretty pog. I wasn't even watching, but like a support cruiser died over here too, I think. And the bombers are just kind of having their way with the field as well. Obviously, there's no anti-air at all, so he's got 5 bombers. And it's like, what do you do here, right? If you build against these kind of siege cruisers, you die to the bombers. If you build against the bombers, you die to the kind of siege. This is definitely sort of a game-winning position for MarchWaden. Probably wants to back this guy away. It's unfortunate, but like, what you gonna do? He just kind of dumps the damage into his carrier, and that should be the end. Indeed, it will be. Pretty clean game. You know, I really like his insistence on going for eco. This is something that I think if you're new to the game, there's different play styles, but the one that you're probably going to find the most success with is just going eco and learning how to like defend rushes. And it went pretty well for him there. And we'll see how it goes on game 2. It's definitely a map that's much easier to damage your opponent with. We have the same factions being picked. But yeah, he knows how to build Conf Siege. I'd say that makes him better than like 80% of players already. But I think it was really interesting to see the way that he did ref mode first, but he didn't retire the base runner. And he actually went for a lot of artifact pressure there. And that was an interesting way to defend the rush, was just get the pressure on the artifacts, you know? Like, I haven't really seen that happen in top level very much, but I think it's probably a viable way to go about that. I think it's going to be the same build here, because you can see, no, actually, it's going to change it up. So, Sandskimmer Fab is on the queue already. He didn't retire the base runner, though. But it tells me, especially with this PC movement, that he probably wants to go for a little bit of aggression instead. Kitsune, meanwhile, also with LAV Fab starting here. I think this is definitely late. If you're going to do like an AV rush, you could start AV Tech, I think, at 29:15, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a little bit late, but we'll see what he's able to get done here. Second base runner comes out again. This is very interesting. This is going to delay his tech quite a lot. But he wants to go for that artifact pressure. This is something that you don't really see from new players, right? I mean, this is sort of like the, I don't know, I think the artifacts are really something that separates, like, the best players from each other. Like, how well they can handle the artifact pressure. You don't usually see new players really able to abuse artifacts very well. So this is really fun to see. We do have some LAVs on the field for Kitsune, but we've already obviously got Assault Ship Tech started for MarchWaden. And And here comes the first assault ship on the queue. No, actually no. The tech is still in the way. Sorry. I'm having a brain dead moment. The skim definitely wants to back away though. This is not really the best Strikecraft micro. He's gonna get away with it though. I rather reckon Kitsune could have dove like the high health LAV in there to try and get that kill, but it's gonna be okay. You've also gotta recognize though that like the threat of Targeting Jammers is a big deal in these kind of like Strikecraft and Base Runner battles against Solon. He's gonna pick up both of these artifacts just fine. And Assault Ship Tech is done, so I reckon we're gonna see the first Assault Ship on the queue in just a moment. Some interesting micro potential that he can do maybe with these Base Runners here, where you can like smoke Sand Skimmers that are like close to death, so you don't need line of sight blockers to save them, but he definitely has got the numbers, so I'm not sure if it even matters. This guy wants to pull away, gonna end up dying there. That's alright though, he trades 2 for 1. LAV armor gonna get started here for Kitsune, so MarchWaden definitely just wants to start making some assault ships, but he's actually just gonna skip him entirely. He goes into BDs instead. Now these LAVs can't stop the double extract because obviously Kanef has got smoke. Not even sure if he needs. Oh yeah, he definitely needs it. Okay, yeah, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. Okay, so there's the double extract from MarchWaden. That's what he wanted. He wants to keep this guy alive though. But this is actually getting a little bit sketchy now because he doesn't have any assault ships. Okay, there we go. He's building the first one now. Generally, you want to build these assault ships like the second that the tech finishes, because obviously if your opponent is on LAVs like that, you know, this is definitely gonna be like the kingmaker on the field. But also, if your opponent had built AVs or something, you really need assault ships to help deal with it. As it stands, though, he's got a BD at least. Probably this one gets denied, yeah. But he's got a BD and he's got an assault ship, so obviously Kitsune not going to push into him here at all. And importantly, he still has his Base Runner alive, so I would love to see him now go for this other artifact, but it looks like Kitsune is going to pick that one up instead. I really obviously like seeing armor starting to get teched here, but we don't have that yet from MarchWaden, so that's maybe something he'll want to look into next time. But just more assault ships, that's all he needs to hold off this LAV aggression. And you know, this blast run could get like a stonky hit as well, you never know. Just kind of sharking around for a hit here with this blast drone, but he doesn't have to worry at all about these LAVs, right? Like maybe on his main base, I guess, but look how much carrier power he's got because of getting those extractions. And so what he's doing here, he's actually looking to try and get damage done on his opponent's side of the map, which is really definitely what you want to do. I would love to see some armor though, just because like when you're fighting against, well, normal carriers is maybe a bit more impactful, because obviously the PD, you do, you know, quite a lot of, like, you have quite a lot of efficiency with the armor against that PD. When you're fighting against AVs, armor is really impactful, so I would love to see him have just a little bit of that, but instead he trades really nicely against his AV. He's going to get the scale in for free as well. I say for free, he actually lost a bunch of assault ships. A little bit of suspect unit control there, but he is on the base. And he's prioritizing the salvagers. That's exactly what you want to do. And down they go. Should get another one here. Maybe you can even get these RU guys, but this is a little bit of an overextend, I think. I'd like to see him just back away instead, especially you've got to think... Oh, this will be really good, Houston. You're asking me, like, how do you tell when it's an overcommit and when it's not? You've got to think, right, like, what is the position of the field after the dive here, right? And your PC is obviously still a little bit exposed from this position. So you need to think, like, after I go in and kill these salvagers with those two, like, I already got 2 salvager kills, right? That's pretty good. I could back away, or I could keep going in. If I keep going in and those assault ships die, they trade well, but if they die, what's going to happen to the PC? Because I kind of think that Kitsune maybe could have killed his PC there. At any rate, he's not going to feel confident pushing against this kind of carrier. I actually don't blame him. Like, yeah, maybe he could get a couple kills here, but these LAVs are going to melt. But it's a little tragic, because I think if Kitsune had had those LAVs with the PC there, he would have actually killed it, I think. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, now I've got, ooh, nice targeting gun. It's like now I've got salvagers, but I don't have any army left. So is he gonna kill my PC? You know, you got to think not only is this trade worth it, but is the next trade gonna be worth it still? That's kind of, I guess, what I would say. Ref mode on the way for MarchWaden. I think his one PC could use a little bit of work. I don't know if this would work against like a top tier player, but I can see the sparks of greatness in here. Uh-oh, this BD just gonna get killed. That's right. And he goes back to eco immediately, which is definitely what he wants to do. I'm definitely impressed. I think definitely though, getting some armor on these assault ships, that's definitely one of the things that he can do to make this play a little bit stronger. How many times can Boza say definitely in one sentence? I don't know. This base runner also probably wants to hold back. Oh, he's gonna go for the extract. The thing is, the LAVs could hit the second when it gets filled up, so it holds the assault ships back here. They've got to stay and deal with that. And as a result, that opens them up to just come over here, yep, just like this, take out this this base runner. So that's a little bit of a mistake, I think, but he might honestly still extract here. He's got smoke still. We'll have to see. Yeah, he's gonna get out. Of course, it's a little bit deceptive with that extraction zone. This is where the border actually is. Here he goes. So it's 3 artifacts to 0, and I think MarchWaden still has the eco advantage as well. He could really go for any tech he wanted to at this point. It's just AAVs for Kitsune, but I could see any playstyle being viable from here. Base burner does get taken out in the end, that's what you'd expect. And it's going to be straight to Con F Siege. Not really much you can say bad about that choice. That's the thing about Con F Siege, it's just almost always like a really good unit. Does it counter AVs? Oh yeah. Does it counter skims? Definitely. Does it counter, or LAVs I guess. Does it counter rails? Full show. And that is going to be what Kitsune texts you now as Railgun Fab. And he looks to get his second extraction out. I would actually like to see MarchWaden contest this one, but he needs to have more assault ships if he's going to do that, of course. I think his army size generally is just a little bit too small. And as a result, he's probably going to start floating here too. But you know what, it looks like he doesn't even want to contest it. He's just kind of chilling at his base here. I don't know if that's really the best way to play this lead, but he is going to have the tech advantage, so it's going to be probably okay for him. I really like Kitsune getting anti-air, of course. You saw assault ships from your opponent, you never know when the air is going to come out, so this is definitely a pretty good choice. In that case, I want to see him like make an effort to keep this base runner alive too, because the anti-air turret post could be really nice if your opponent does come out with air. But of course, that's not going to be the play yet. Of course, MarchWaden, he did go for air last time. So we'll have to see what happens here. And he's going to start teching actually Sandskimmer upgrades, and the first Con F Siege cruiser are going to be on the queue immediately. Pretty nice timing with that PC as well. Oh, and this is pretty spicy. He's going to make it into a 2-base play. Alright. Yeah, we'll see what he can do with this. I think 2-base on Con F used to be really weak because of how slow their carrier was, but it's actually pretty speedy now. You can see only just power 1 in the mobility support, but he already has 52 movement speed, which is faster than any other non-Gaussian carrier. And he's definitely got the army to contest here as well. These LAVs are not going to be able to get any damage done with the assault ships chilling back here. The only question is, could the AVs trade efficiently? Well, probably not at this low health. Could they trade efficiently with the assault ships such that the LAVs have a window? But like, yeah, if they're this low, they're not going to be able to do that. They're just getting hammered by these missiles. Coalition units, of course, they don't re-heal, so I mean the threat is basically diffused already. And MarchWaden is free to do whatever he likes now with this carrier. I really like this. And he's going to be moving in with the Con F Siege. Bit of a carrier block going on here. As I was mentioning before, if they're next to the carrier, they can't shoot, right? So he has 0 DPS from this Con F Siege for the moment. It's a little bit annoying, but you know. Just kind of chonking this base runner bit by bit. His opponent obviously is in route there. Uh-oh, but he left the second base with the assault ships there. He can build more. I mean, this is probably containable. This is actually getting quite a lot of damage from Kitsune here, so I like this a lot. Definitely the assault ships should have just stayed though. Really good targeting damage there. This is going to be tough for Kitsune to deal with. He needs to stop these rails from dying basically at any cost. And it doesn't have magic cells, so these kind of siege crews are going to go down really, really slowly. Bit of a whiff barrage though, so Kitsune is going to dodge this one quite nicely. Bit of ALM spam coming out, you know what I think about that. Support crews are going to go down here probably. Just takes like one more missile from the carrier. It's actually not going to die, okay. That's kind of surprising. And, you know, this is actually a lot of rails, so the kind of carrier is a little bit in danger here, but... Searching for that siege, support cruiser, but he's not quite going to find it. But he can rebuild the damage that was done to his main here. He's got 3 salves, it looks like, to rebuild. And you can see, obviously, the idea of this 2-base play is just to kind of try to camp your opponent with, like, attrition, right? And any time that you get info on the way these rails have moved to, you just go to the other side. Power 2 going to be kind of offering too. I would love to see a base runner, actually, from this Conf carrier. You know, just build, like, one base runner, keep extracting while you're doing this, because obviously that's a win condition, if you can get to 5. And he finds the main base totally free here. This is a lot of rails though, but they still don't have magic, so just now finishing. And it's so dangerous. You know, you've always got to be worried when you're playing railguns against Conf Siege, because they can just, you know, like one good barrage, you know, that you don't dodge properly, and you can just lose everything. It's so scary to play against. Power goes into the heels now, a little bit of mobility as well. He's just going to try to get out of there. Actually, this carrier is really low, oh my gosh. But, again, like, Kitsune can't really chase him here, so he's pretty safe, actually. I don't know what this ALM is supposed to do. Gotta say, I'm really not a fan of ALM spamming. But look at this, look at the confidence on this guy. He's like, yeah, I know my carry's at 14% HP, but I'm just gonna take your main base now if you don't mind. That's crazy. If he gets away with this, that'll be huge. I'm interested how much money Kitsune's got left. Oh gosh, he nearly killed the support cruiser with the depth pack there. That would have been so sad. Can you imagine? Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about, how it's so scary to play against that kind of siege. It's one bad barrage and he uses all those railguns. They got close. I don't think he lost any there, though. But yeah, MarchWaden, he didn't care how low he was. He stayed. And that Karen's going to heal up. He's going to get this this main base for sure. And that's going to put him kind of on like 3.5 base, because obviously main bases are a little bit more valuable than seconds. Although this one's actually about to mine out, I guess. Kind of surprising how long this game has gone on. I feel like we just started, but there you go. And it looks like Kitsune, recognizing he's got to do something dramatic, he's going to go for the base trade. But I don't think this is going to work out, obviously. 4th Extraction, of course, is finishing up for MarchWaden as well. And it looks to me like he's got this game in the bag. It's possible he could throw it, but I don't really see what the win condition for Kitsune is from this, from this stage. And don't make no mistake, Kitsune is not a bad player. Definitely not like top tier or anything, I would say, but if you're new to DOK and you can beat players like Kitsune, you're doing well. You're doing very well for yourself. Power 4 on the way now for MarchWaden, as if he needs that. Just a little bit of icing on the cake. And interceptors, of course, were teched as well. That's a really nice choice. Any game that you're in control and you just need something to kind of stamp out your opponent, like air, really good option there. This is potentially the game-winning artifact, right? So this carrier basically has to follow this base runner. He's actually not, which is a little awkward, but... And these units, by the way, are all so low. This support cruiser never got healed. So it's gonna die here actually just to splash damage, like he wasn't even targeting it. But these rails are gonna go down the same way as well. Ouch. There's really nothing left for Kitsune on the field at this point. MarchWaden gonna leave that main base that he took, just gonna try to chase his opponent here. But honestly, like, he's gonna win off this extraction, I think, because I don't know if Kitsune can stop this. Well, maybe. Gotta see it should definitely be moving here, though. Yeah, actually, it looks like he's gonna stop this artifact here, but... Oh, you want to be moving, my guy. Ooh. Alas, that looks like a dead base runner to me. MarchWaden, though, just gonna build another one. Kind of siege, of course, can fight this carrier. And this is power 5 and cruise missiles. This is when it starts getting a little bit ridiculous. Kind of cruise missiles, they freaking hurt against carriers. This should be a confirmed kill here. Shan't be long now. I believe we're watching the first series of MarchWaden going to be a 2-0. So very nicely done. Yeah, and that is the game. Wait, no, it's not. It's already good themselves. Okay, there we go. And that is going to be the game for MarchWaden, so very nicely done. Yeah, I'm really interested to see like what this guy pulls off in the upper bracket. Because obviously he's new to the scene, but like he's playing pretty well. I like it. Keep it up, man. Here, I'll friend you. Look at this. Oh yeah. I was playing games with MarchWaden and he was beating me. You know what I mean? So like, he's definitely not bad. I think definitely I played him after the group stage had finished. I think he definitely had improved since then. So I think that, you know, we're only going to see him get better with time. Kind of a la Orbnet and No Fun and stuff. And that's obviously interesting to me because anytime we can see a player who can, you know, topple A-game and Discara and myself, you know, that's pretty hype. That's what we want to see. So very nicely done. Very nicely done.